place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry. Be happy. Your rent is late. He may have to litigate. Don't worry. Be happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Don't worry. Be happy. I give you my phone number. When you worry, call me. I make you happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no gal to make you smile, but don't worry. Be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy now. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't do it. Be happy. Put a smile on your face. Don't bring everybody down like this. Don't worry. It will soon pass, whatever it is. Don't worry, be happy.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your love, your appreciation. So tonight we have an incredible lineup here for you guys. Thank you for those of you who are watching online. We feel your consciousness. Make sure to tune in and let us know where you're watching from, so that we can respond to you. So we have Dennis Mills here, who's going to start off our evening with an invocation. Dennis has been here for over 20 years, so he has a lot of spiritual, yes. So with all of that said, I'm going to have Dennis Mills come up to do our invocation.
Good evening. You can close your eyes and just feel that presence of God as we are sitting here in this sanctuary. For as we feel that power and that spirit that courses through each and every cell of our body, and as we're energized with each and every breath, each and every moment of our life, it gets us up in the morning, it moves us through the day. So I know it's going to move us here tonight. So we know that it is that spirit that continues to be that force, that power that is here right now, filling this sanctuary, enlivening all of us that are here today. But it is that what brought us out here tonight, knowing that what we are going to hear is what we need to hear tonight. But it's in that presence and in that knowledge and understanding that Spirit is all there is. So I know that it is a wonderful evening. It is filled with music, with words that will enliven us and build us up spiritually and continue to energize each and every moment of the day. So in gratitude, I say, and so it is.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, so for our artist this week, he's been here before and he always gets us up and moving and dancing. Sean is a troubadour with a sacred calling to serve the deepest needs of humanity with musical medicine. He served all over this beautiful planet of ours, creating intimate musical experiences that help to unlock and unleash bruised and broken voices. And while his open source ensemble is carrying on the same mission tonight at the Source in Redlands, once again, where he currently serves as the music director, He's here with us to invite you to participate in the fullness of your aliveness and perhaps unlock and unleash the power of your voice.
Thank you, Kat. And strong in my courageous heart, trusting the guidance leading me on, even when it seems to be outside the norm. Unseen hands are keeping me warm and supporting my every step, and I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. Yes, I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. I am meeting all the needs that I am here to meet, following Spirit beyond my limits. Every way of being that leads me to lack shows me where to live or take slack, and lean in or pull slightly back, but always rejoicing, always rejoicing. I am rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. Come on, sing with me. Yes, I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. Hey. You want to put your hands together a little bit? That might help get the blood moving through your body and spirit. Exactly. I am standing present in this one eternal now, opening to be with everything here, even when it seems like I should run in fear. I stay near and breathe my way clear, so that I may respond in strength. And I keep on rejoicing. I keep on rejoicing, always rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing. I am rejoicing and giving thanks along the way. Thank you.
Woo! All right. Sean's here. All right, thank you so much, Sean. Always. I'm always up here really, really warm. Having a good time. All right, so now it's time for us to set our intentions, our individual intentions, as to why we decided to get up out of our homes, drive, and be here tonight. So we have this wonderful, beautiful, vibrant woman this evening who will help us to set these intentions for ourselves. She came all the way from Arizona, which, again, we are so blessed to be here and to be able to listen to this message tonight. And I know that every single individual that is in this room for a reason. With all that being said, let's give a warm welcome to Lezli Goodwin.
Good evening. Y'all awake now? Did he wake you up? Yeah. I actually tried to stay seated for that song, and I am physically not capable of sitting when Sean Madden is singing. I rose up. So good evening. My name is Lezli Goodwin, and I'm one of the principal members of this amazing Power Up team that is what we call this Wednesday evening service. And one of the things that we were really clear about when we were creating this service format is that we weren't going to do it for ourselves, that we're here for y'all. And so the most important thing right now is for us to just take a little bit of time and to go within to find what is our personal intention. So I'm going to ask Sean to play us a pretty little tune on that guitar as we just close our eyes or soften our gaze and take just a minute to go within and ask ourselves, what am I here to accomplish, to learn, to focus in on this morning? And I invite us to take in one nice deep anchoring breath, and as we exhale, just let our shoulders drop, let our bodies align. And as we open our eyes and center back into this room, here's what I want to know. What is your intention? And go ahead and just yell it out. What's your intention this evening? Joy, yes. Fun. You're in the right place. Trust, beautiful. Action, yes. Oh, you're in the right place too. This is a good talk for that. Mine is gratitude. It's the November the 1st. I'm anchored in gratitude. Anybody else want to share? Peace, always. What have you got for me, Shani? Appreciation. That is gorgeous. And so for all of the intentions, spoken and unspoken, let us all just say, and so it is. Oh, isn't that the best? You know, so many people go through their whole day, maybe even their whole lives, without taking a conscious moment to decide what their intention is, to decide what they're about. And that's one of the wonderful things about a place like Seaside Center, is that we consciously come together to be about something. We're not a movement that teaches you what you should think. We're a movement that encourages you to explore your own values, your own ideas, and then help you to come into integration and into an alignment so that we can be in integrity with our own individual values, because that's what creates a life that is powerful and meaningful and that lifts everybody up, right? Right. Oh, it feels so good. I love it. So, hi, my name is Lezli Goodwin. This is an interesting setup sometimes when we only have the one main speaker that does so many of the parts. My name is Lezli Goodwin. I'm here from Phoenix. Somebody was joking with me earlier, I think it was Trudy who's holding the light right now, that after the last time I spoke, people had all this wonderful feedback, and they were like, she's so charming, Sean's so wonderful, she has a lot of children. It's true. All of that is true. I do have a lot of children. So Reverend Christian is doing this really cool series this month. It begins this Sunday, and it's the Arthurian myths, the legend of King Arthur on his quest for the Holy Grail. It's his stewardship series. And when he asked me if I would do a talk that aligned with that, I was like, okay. Not quite sure where I'm going to go with that. So you probably know the story. Literally dozens of movies have been made about this story, whether you're talking Disney and the Sword and the Stone, or all the way to Monty Python's Holy Grail, the horses. Really, nobody? Sean's laughing. It's one of those stories that just captures the imagination. And in case you haven't heard it or just need a refresher, we have the King of Britain has been killed, and there is this magical sword, and it's been plunged into a stone, and only the rightful heir of Britain can pull the sword out of the stone and claim the kingship. And this young man is able to do so, and because people are a little bit freaked out about a young man ruling an entire country, he has to fight to claim his throne. And when he does so, he brings about all of the finest knights in the kingdom to sit around his round table and collaborate on how to have the most wonderful culture ever. And they go off in search of the Holy Grail, this symbol of absolute perfection in all of the land, right? We remember this? So that's what Reverend Christian's going to talk about. He's going to talk about this quest for the Holy Grail. And I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to work that into a talk? And as I read about it and thought about it, something started really jumping out to me. And it was the actual sword, the sword that's in the stone, the sword. It's kind of like the ring, only one shall rule. The sword, Excalibur. And as I read about Excalibur, I started to realize that Excalibur really represents personal responsibility, personal power, and the claiming it and making it your own. Ernest Holmes loved to say, I think he said it in pretty much every book he ever wrote, that there is a power for good in the universe that is greater than you are, and you can use it. Right? The sword is right there in the stone. You can use it. But the sword stayed in that stone for dozens of years, and no one could, in fact, use it. There's a little bit more to being in your power, being in your personal responsibility than just, nabbing a sword. So that's what we're going to talk about today. See, I think it's really fun to start breaking down stories, whether they're Bible stories or stories from sacred traditions, or whether they're just myths or other stories that we've heard along the way, because one of the really cool things about being a metaphysical tradition is we can find wisdom in anything. We can find wisdom because we get to interpret whatever we find through this lens of spiritual power. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Excalibur, and I'm going to break down these little elements that I found, kind of special little tidbits about this sword, and see how it can apply to our lives. And this can be done with any story. Everything can be gleaned for spiritual power. So, there's a stone. There's a sword. And Merlin, the great wizard, there's got to be a wizard. It's the week of Halloween. Merlin, the great wizard, says that whoever can pull this sword from the stone is the rightful heir of all of Britain, and only the worthy can pull this sword out. Only the worthy can claim it. Well, what makes you worthy? We're all worthy, right? If we are made in the likeness and image, and that's what our teaching says, that each one of us is made in the likeness and image of an infinite and powerful God. Whole, perfect, and complete, just exactly as we are. So we're all worthy, but we have to know we're worthy. If we approach that sword with doubt in our heart, if we approach that sword tentatively, like, I hope it'll come out of the rock, it's not coming, right? It's not going to come out. We have to know that we're worthy. Holmes says there's a power. We can use it. It's greater than we are. But he also said, even God cannot give us what we refuse to accept. So if that sword represents our own power, then isn't it our responsibility to claim it, to take it, to grab hold of it, absolutely sure that we are made in the likeness and image of a perfect God, absolutely sure that we are worthy, to claim it and pull that sword out. So how do we do that? What do we need to do to be sure of our personal power? We have to choose to align with it. And how convenient that we find ourselves in a building dedicated to helping us do that. It's like they made this building just for us. A place where they teach us to pray, not in a beseeching way, but in a way that anchors us in that truth over and over again. There is one power. We are made of it. We can utilize that power, and we can allow it to utilize us. I'm grateful. Peace out. That's basically spiritual mind treatment. Your practitioner teachers might say there's more to it. We learn to pray. We learn to meditate. We learn that meditation is not an option. If you have not learned this yet, I love, Marianne Williamson says all the time, I'm not saying I do it perfectly every day. I don't. What I'm saying is when I do, everything works out great. And when I do not, everything goes to bleep. Right? Anybody ever had that? That's just me. Had that day? Yeah. And then we learn, don't we? We learn that if we're going to take the power part of grabbing onto that sword, then we better take the personal responsibility part of being in alignment with our truth and with the truth of the one that runs through us. Because it's not about us. Once we take up that sword, once we claim that kingship, it's not just about us. We're impacting everyone we're around. And the more power we claim, the more we stand in our truth, the more people we're impacting. So it becomes more and more essential that we speak our affirmations, that we watch our languaging, that we take our time to glean through those old beliefs and decide, do I really think that? Do I want to think that? Is that who I am? And to over and over and over again go back to sacred texts, go back to the Bible, go back to Ernest Holmes, go back to Joel Goldsmith, read those words that resonate with you, whatever ones they are, and align powerfully, meaningfully, so that when you grab a hold of that sword, you are grabbing onto a power for good and using it. To me, that's what the sword itself represents. Not just the power, but the power for good. That's why all those other men, thousands of men, they say, tried to pull that sword out of the stone, and they could not. Why? They wanted the power, but they weren't ready for the power for good. They hadn't done their own work. There's another story about Excalibur. I think this one is really fun. You know, the lords, they were not convinced. Arthur was 15 years old. 15 years old. Think about 15-year-old boys you know. Right? And these lords were not convinced that this guy should be running their country. And they got an army together. They were going to fight him. They were taking that sword. They were taking that country. And so Merlin took him under his wing because he was really convinced this is the guy. You know, it's not just that he was the son of the past king. He was the one. He had been prophesied. And Merlin really believed in him. So he told him, when you go into battle, don't use Excalibur right away. Don't use that height of power right away. Keep it in its scabbard, in its sheath, and use your other daggers and fight. Stay alive, fight. But I will signal you when it's time to use Excalibur. And Arthur didn't really understand this instruction, but he really believed in his mentor. So he followed the instructions, and he was wildly outnumbered. The battle was not in his favor. And as the battle rages, and it's looking bad for Arthur and his buddies, Merlin signals him, it's time to pull Excalibur, and he pulls it from the sheath, and the blinding light that reflects off Excalibur as he lifts it to the sky dazzles and confuses all of the enemy army. And they're blinded, they can't see, they can't think, and that's when the tide of the battle turns. And Arthur's team wins. At the end of the day, the enemy's armies are decimated, and Arthur is king of Britain. So why is this an interesting part of the story for me? Excalibur didn't win the battle. Violence didn't win the battle. The light won the battle. There's an interesting thing when we claim our power from a place of personal responsibility. We realize pretty quickly we don't do the work. We don't. When we get caught up in the doing, we are our own undoing. How's that for a tongue twister? When we're doing, we're our own undoing. The light does the work. The master teacher Jesus said it the most succinctly. It is the Father within that doeth the work. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teacher, let's find the right quote. Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of our teaching, said, if we know that God is forever right where we are, we shall not be reaching out in every direction for him. We enter the inner chamber of our mind and close the door on all discord and confusion and commune with our God, our spiritual consciousness, our Father within. Our Buddha nature, our cosmic consciousness, the inner knower, the place that is aligned. It is indwelling. Our statement of principles, we sometimes call them the we believe statements. We say that truth can be revealed to anyone. Anyone can become a revealer of truth who chooses to live in alignment with the indwelling God. It's right there where we are. And we can kill ourselves figuratively and literally, swinging swords around, all crazy willy-nilly, or we can do that work and we can align and we can let the light work through us, in us, as us. Y'all have heard that one, right? In me, through me, as me. Sometimes the things that we say up here on this stage start to feel like they're lingo, like they're jargon, like they don't mean anything, but think about it. The indwelling Spirit works in me, like on my person, in my soul. It works through me. And then finally, when I really get it, it works as me, as everything that I am. That's what we're going for. Doesn't it feel beautiful to think of it? The light does the work. So we've claimed our power, we've got our sword. We've lined ourselves up so we're worthy to hold it. We're letting the light do the bulk of the work. And it leads us into my third piece of the story. Now, this is one I had not heard before, and I love it. Feels a little bit arcane. Not quite sure. I don't think it's made it into any of the movies. So Merlin asked Arthur, did he value the sword Excalibur more, or did he value its scabbard, its sheath, you know? Usually in the movies it's cool and braided and leather and funky. And Arthur, of course, said, well, the sword. I mean, and you could just get another sheath. It's just a scabbard. It's no big deal, right? And Merlin said, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. The sword is magical, it's true. It cannot be defeated in battle. But the scabbard, if you're wearing it, you can never bleed to death. You cannot be killed. You cannot be felled in any way. No harm can befall you if you're wearing the scabbard. And the scabbard is 100 times more valuable than the sword. So why do I think that that's important in this story? If the sword is the power, the sword is the doing, the sword is the action, you know, there's a power for the universe and you can use it. It's great, we love it. The light is what's energizing all of it. What's going on with that scabbard? It's not the doing, that's the sword. It's not the energy, that's the light. It's the being. It's the being. It is literally the God within, the God consciousness, the cosmic consciousness that we are. Not in a projective sense, but in a presence sense. I have this awesome professor in ministerial school. His name is Dr. Amit Goswami. He says, you have to be, I'm not going to do the accent. I'm actually pretty good at the accent, but I'm not going to do it. He's this awesome Indian guy. He says, you have to be careful about all this doing in ministerial school and in ministry. You want to do, you want to do, you want to do. There's so much to do, so many papers to write, so much to learn, so many talks to give. You have to do, and you have to be careful. Because most of the good stuff in life is over in the being side. Love is in the being. You don't do love. You be love. You experience love. You don't do peace. You be peace. You experience peace. He says, be careful about all this do. No. You have to do. Get it? I love him. Do. See, if God created each one of us out of its own nature, in the likeness and image, I just love that. It's biblical and it has such chutzpah behind it. Made in the likeness and image of a perfect God. If that is true, then we don't have to do anything beyond aligning. Our goal isn't to become anything. Our goal is to slowly, piece by piece, strip away everything that isn't like that God that we are. All of those beliefs that no longer serve us, all of that energy that doesn't fit, the jealousies, the pettiness, the looking for somebody to blame, the casting fault, the not taking personal responsibility, the thinking it's somebody else's issue, the criticism, the judgment turned on others or on ourselves. We got to let it fall away because the truth is none of it matters. I'm going to say it again because it's really important. None of it matters. It's distracting us from the truth, which is that, as Ernest Holmes said in this thing called You, no harm can come to you when you know that God is at the center of everything. No harm can come to you when you know that God is at the center of everything. This knowledge protects you from all evil. Does this mean nothing bad ever happens? Of course not. Life is going to keep happening. Life is real, it's happening. Whether you're in war or you're in traffic or your kid brings home a bad grade or you get a bad grade or whatever could be going on in your life, illnesses. We're human in a physical manifest realm. Stuff goes down. But when you know that you are made in the likeness and image of an infinite power, when you know that that power is in you, as you, through you, and you just be in that presence, it doesn't matter what seems to be going on out there. Nothing can harm you. Nothing can harm me when I know that God is at the center of everything. And that's what the scabbard represents, that state of presence. It's literally a container that holds that power and calms it down and says, be still and know. My favorite Bible quote is from Joshua, and it's do not be afraid. Did you know that the Bible says do not be afraid 365 times? I have to think that is not an accident. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And it's not following you around. It's not a dude in the sky following you around. I'm with you. It's right here. It's right where we are. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. When you know God is at the center of who you are, no harm can befall you. You cannot bleed out in battle. Whatever your battle is, you are safe. You are safe in the presence of an infinite presence that loves you so much it brought you forth, brought you into this room to hear this message. And whatever has come forth in your heart during this talk, it is by divine appointment. There is no accident. So what do I take out of King Arthur? I take the awareness that I get to claim my power in a responsible, in a spiritually mature way by aligning myself with the truth of that which brought me forth. And then I don't have to do it alone because the light is right where I am. And no matter what appears to be happening, I am safe and all is well because God is at the center of my being and at the center of your being as well. And so it is. Whew. You could hear a pin drop in this room.
Yes. Can we stand up and give her a warm, round of applause? I feel inspired all the time.
Love you, man.
All right, so Power Up is not for Lezli, it's not for me, it's not for Sean, it's not for us, it's for you. And this is the part and the portion in our service where I'm going to come down and any questions that may have arisen during Lezli's speech, or if there's anything that you have questions about otherwise. This is
comments
for you.
Or things that came up. Mm-hmm. This is where we just share a dialogue about what just went down up here and what's happening inside of us.
Exactly. And if there's one question that you have, be courageous. Maybe someone else has the same question. So I'm going to come down with the mic.
I'm going to grab my water.
If you have any questions, don't stand up at once. This joke is going to get old at some point.
I love Kat's energy. You're awesome.
I didn't really have a question, but a comment. It was really fun listening to you. It was a great message. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I might in a little bit, but I just wanted to, your energy is beautiful. And just thank you for all that you brought to your message tonight and how generous you were.
Thank you so much.
We're just going to hang out with the mic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got all the time in the world. Let's do that.
She made
I've got my water. We're good.
Vanessa made a really good point. Like, what a beautiful message. And so many like-minded people in the city didn't get to hear it. It's just unfortunate.
Well, here's something that I say all the time. If only we were recording it and broadcasting it on Facebook where people could watch it. Why, yes, you can. So please, if you see one of these talks and you think that your friends would enjoy it, share it on Facebook. We broadcast it on the Seaside Center Facebook page. You can, there's that little magic button, that share button. Also, I believe, will it be archived on the website as well? Easy to find? Yep, I'm seeing nods. So they don't go away. So just because we have a quiet, everybody's tired from Halloween yesterday, just because we have a little bit of a quiet evening doesn't mean these talks go away. In the wonderful land of technology, we can share it far and wide. So thank you.
Anybody else? Because I could sit here and have conversation with Lezli all night. I have 1,001 questions. Yes.
Yes. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, so we talk about meditating.
Yes.
And being still and listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what meditation is about. It's the listening, not the manic voice that goes in and out. And eventually we hear that peace, or we don't even hear anything in that, the voice of God. How do you know the difference between your ego talking to you during your meditation or the voice of God?
Oh, that's such a good question. Something like this, there are probably about as many good answers as there are people who could answer the question. So I'll answer it from a how I know perspective, because sometimes the voice that I hear says, you've done this long enough. Go get a Diet Coke and a cookie. And I'm pretty sure that is not the voice of God in there. So for me, I know that I am really tuning in well when the guidance that I get is life-affirming, calming, and loving. If there's any tinge of blame or need to do or change anything that isn't just me and totally doable and just internal, then I know that I'm not quite there yet. So like an example I would give is, if I am in meditation and I get a nudge that says, take better care of your body temple, that feels like a God nudge. If I hear or feel something that's Seriously, lay off the cookies. Your butt's enormous. God has never once told me my butt was enormous. It hasn't ever happened. If I get something that tells me you need to do something, you need to accomplish something, you should be writing better papers. I'm a ministerial student, so a lot of my talks end up very academic because it's what I'm in right now. Or you need to control those children. You need to do something. God has never once told me to do anything. But if I get, sweetheart, my internal God voice is really nice too. Sugar muffin. I heard you blaming your sister. Maybe it wasn't your sister. That's God. I don't always like what I'm told because often it calls me to a deeper place in myself, and it calls me to pay attention to things that I probably have been kind of, sidestepping. Because it calls me to that place that will really deepen me. And I don't always, maybe it's just me, I don't always want to do the hard work. Sometimes I just like to do put on the pretty music and it feels nice in my body. But the meditations that really move me forward as a human being are the ones that call me to the true center of myself and remind me of a place in which I'm not completely aligned with my God self and lovingly invite me to let that piece go. I would love to hear how you answer that question, Jenny, because I know you know.
Well, God is all about expansion. I mean, God is not expanding because God's already infinite, so it cannot expand. But it's all about expanding life, which is not God. God created it. Anyway, so it's all about expansion and being. And again, you're really well on the other part. The thing that's telling you, you're really not doing really well, or God does not do negativity at all. And it's the ego. Oftentimes we know that the ego just really wants to protect us, but it's like, no thanks, not this time. So you just want to listen to that expansion, that outward up, that movement that is outward but gentle, and the beingness. Yeah. I like your answer.
I like your answer too. Together we did a really good job on that. I have people ask all the time because it's in my handwriting so nobody can read it because that's how that goes. My tattoo right here reads freedom, and meaning like the spiritual quality of freedom, which to me is the culmination of when all of the God qualities are present in your beingness. That we say in our Declaration of Principles that we believe in an emancipation from discord of every nature and that everyone is sure to attain it. And the idea of, I'm going to cry. It just brings up such good stuff in me. The idea of freedom from any kind of discord that I bring on myself. Freedom from frustration. Freedom from self-criticism. Freedom from attachment to things that I don't need. That's what I'm going for.
And these are the conversations we have all the time.
Yeah, you should see us in the office. This is like all we talk about.
Do we have any more questions? Lezli is right here. You have a chance to ask any question.
Or make any comments. I don't like to hold people to just questions.
So I've thought of a bunch of questions while I'm just sitting here thinking of what questions to ask.
Awesome.
I'll start with one. So I feel like you show up so fully, and I can tell you've done a lot of work, obviously, and you've been to ministerial school, and I wanted to know if there was ever like a transitional point for you, like a transformational point in your life where you went from being in our material world and having so much focus on just the way that I feel like we're conditioned to just be so outwardly focused and do, and how did you go to be?
Wow. So, okay, I'm gonna go there. So whoever was like, she shares so much of her life. Yeah, get ready, kids. So my parents say I came out of the womb weird. This is weird. That I just kind of came out. I came into a not particularly religious family, really hungry for God, and have bothered them for it and around it their whole lives. Hi, Mom. I'm sure she's watching this. I love you. And so that is true. That is true. Like, I read the entire Bible when I was 9, cover to cover, because I was sure I was going to find some great secret in there. And, you know, when you're 9, you don't understand anything you're reading, so I'm not sure that it was that great of a task, but I was dedicated. However, I can take what you just asked me down to one day in 2007. I had left an emotionally and physically abusive marriage that I'd been in that relationship for 14 years, and I had 2 kids with this person. And you know, sometimes they say that 2 people just bring out the worst in each other, and woo, we were the poster children for that. It was just bad on every level. And I left a life that was very financially secure and very surface perfect. Big house, lots of money, private schools, perfect clothing, personal trainer, live-in help. And I was miserable, and I was falling apart. And I did everything I could do in the context. I did a year of marriage counseling by myself because he wouldn't go. And I got to the point where I could not shift anymore without freedom. And I took my kids and my dog and no money and no anything and started over. And very shortly after that, I was sitting out in my backyard of my little tiny rental house that I didn't know how I was even going to pay the rent on. And a sudden storm burst happened. Now, this is Phoenix, so this just doesn't happen very much. So I'm sitting, and it starts raining, and I just sat in the rain. I didn't get up in the rain. And I had a rant with God, at God. And I got this very clear message that I have been saying I believe that God has got my back for so many years. I have been saying that I know that I am safe, that I know that I'm sourced, that I know that I'm supplied, that I know that there is justice, that I know that all is well for so many years. And God was calling bullshit on me. Sorry, swearing on the pulpit, but this is the truth. I was getting called to put up or shut up. Either I was going to give it all over, or I was going to shut up about these beliefs because either I believed it or I didn't. You either believe it or you don't. And if you believe it, then you have to be all in. In the pouring rain, I realized in that moment I was either having a spiritual epiphany, like a true cosmic experience, or a nervous breakdown. And I was kind of open to either answer, but I have not been the same since. All in. It meant no more making excuses about why I didn't have time to meditate that day. It meant no more putting blame on my ex-husband, who wasn't even my ex-husband yet. No more putting blame on him for why I wasn't happy. I stayed. I stayed in a situation where I was not safe or cared for or given the experience where I could thrive. That's not his fault. He wasn't holding me down. I wasn't chained to anything. That was me. No more making it somebody else's fault. No more pretending like God wasn't in it. No more going to action instead of prayer. That the first thing I had to do was pray, and the second thing I had to do was meditate about what to pray for, and the third thing I had to do was pray again. And then I was allowed to do something. And it better be the thing that I heard in meditation. Or I needed to set my tush back down and do it all again. And that's what all in meant for me. It meant no Sundays off from church. It meant Tuesday I was going to stream some other church's talk because by then the magic had worn off and I better do it again. It meant that Science of Mind textbook better be by the side of my bed every day. I better have my nose in that book every day. And if I heard myself saying something that wasn't in alignment, my tush goes back down into that prayer chair. until I started having the demonstration, the experience of the life that I kept saying I knew was possible. And you know what? It works. They don't build these big, pretty buildings because people like to hear Sean play music, though we really do, right? We really do. It works. It's a formula that has proven for thousands of years to work, and yet we make excuses about why, oh, I'm busy. Really? You're too busy to be happy? I was 14 years. It's not like I stand up here and say it like I don't understand how that happens. But on the other side of it, I don't even know that girl. I don't even know her. And I don't want to anymore. You had no idea what you were asking there, right?
Okay, we have one more.
Did you have a question?
No, never mind. Never mind. Okay, so.
Thank you so much, everybody, for going there with me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and we are here all the time. We are open Sunday through Friday, every day.
Every day.
If you need anything, if you have any questions, there are practitioners here. You can send it. We have a website. We have social media. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have it all. The resources are here for you. They are for you. Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions, if you want to pray, if you want to take a class, there are classes. So wait until the winter comes around. There are so many resources for us all, so that we can be where Lezli is
and
beyond, other ministerial students
and beyond, yeah,
and beyond.
Because there's more than I'm showing up here as, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
Woo! All right, yeah, that's power up. You see what we do here, and this is for you. With all of that being said, we're going to welcome Sean up onto the stage one more time. We're going to stand up. We're going to celebrate with him.
Why do I feel like a gauntlet's been thrown down?
Boom!
Put up or shut up. Like, okay, you got it. Thank you, Lezli.
I
love
don't know
this
that
lady.
I would have been that harsh with y'all, but that's what I said to me.
So good. No, it's so good. I love it. I love it. That's my kind of conversation with God too. All right, so let's get a little funky, because I don't know about you, when I'm faced with a disciplinarian, I kind of gotta dance a little bit just to shake it off. And you can raise your voices a little bit too. I got a part in this song for you. It goes like this. Let's go. Sing that. That's right. Let me hear you. That's right. Oh, I'll never say that it's the end of the world, 'cause I really don't think that's true. But I'm looking around, taking notes and reading all the signs that we're about to find out who is who. You know, some people want to hold on to the very thing that's killing them. And some of us are letting go, yeah. And no, there ain't enough of us to make a difference. Well, I got to tell you, I don't know, but no matter what happens, I swear I'll keep on. Everybody has a dream that they believe in. And that's why I keep on giving, tending to my garden of dreams. Come on here. That's right. Oh, so good. So now that I've got your full attention, let's talk about what there is to do. Like Lezli said, go inside and ask yourself what you came here for and what means the most to you. And no matter what happens, you got to keep person on the planet where we live has ever taken to the limit what there is to do and see, and yet we walk around pretending like there's nothing we don't know. Smoke and mirrors flashing like we're putting on some show, but the joke is on you and me, y'all, because we got all that we need to be free, y'all. Yes, I said we've got all that we need to be free, right here, right now. Yes, right here, right now, at Seaside, in Encinitas, California. Unless you're online and you're somewhere else in the world. Well, you know there's something precious in the corner of your mind. The spark of life, the source of it all. And it's clawing at the walls you raise and howling at the moon. You better listen to it. And no matter what happens, we've all got to keep on. Everybody has a dream they believe in. Yeah, and that's why I keep on giving, tending to my garden of dreams. Yeah, no matter what happens, go inside and ask yourself why you're here. Yeah. Everybody has a dream that they believe in. I keep giving, I got living. I found my soul in a garden of dreams. Let me hear. That's right. That's it. Thank you so much.
The ooh.
Boom.
Right? Right?
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
It's the I love you, Sean.
That's what happens when God calls you out. You go, oh!
Sometimes. So one of the things that's a little bit different about this Power Up service is Kim Jarrett and Kat and I kind of joke that we're a little bit on the younger side of the generation. Kat's really a lot younger. I'm just kind of pretending to be able to keep up with her. And so we joke that we're like the TED Talk generation, right? We like the quick changes. So rather than doing the big, long talk, I did kind of a shorter talk, but we got to come back to the key action element. Like, what the heck are you guys supposed to go home and do now, right? Because it's no fun if we don't give you a call to action. So we kind of jumped on it in the Q&As, but this is what I'm inviting everybody to do this week and forevermore for all time. I want us to take what we've learned about Excalibur and do it backwards. So we talked about taking our personal responsibility. We talked about using the light or allowing the light. And we talked about keeping that sheath. Do you like how I'm reenacting all this for you? The sheath that is the presence. So I'm going to invite us to do that backwards in our life, to start with the sheath, to start with that practicing of the presence, to go within. There is something magical that happens at 12 minutes. 12 minutes, y'all. Where it stops being just a physiological experience and begins to be a spiritual experience. Less than 12 minutes, and it's not super likely that that's going to happen. More than 12 minutes, and the odds go up. So I'm going to first of all challenge everyone within the sound of my voice in all of time and space, that's you too, y'all, to do 13 minutes or more of a silence-based meditation every day for a week. No excuses, right? By silence-based, I don't necessarily mean no music. I mean not guided, not imagining I'm on a path. There's nothing wrong with that. But this particular kind of meditation invites the presence, the awareness to come through more clearly for us. It's a listening practice, listening to the indwelling Spirit for 13 minutes or more. Now, if that number feels really small to you because you do 25, add 13 to your number, right? The idea is to increase our listening time, to open the power of the presence in our lives in a fuller way, in a more expansive way, to use Ginny's really awesome word for that, to be more expansive. So that's number one. Number two is the light. This is me turning the sword and flashing the light at you. In case you don't, I'm not driving a motorcycle. The light. And I'm going to invite us to invite the light in more fully by not just sitting in the meditation, but by recording through journaling or some kind of writing down the messages, the clarity, the insight that comes in those listening meditations. There's a little bit of a tendency to go through our meditations and we get some clarity, and that's really nice, and then now we're screaming at people in traffic, right? We blink and it's gone. But if we take the time to record what Spirit has shared with us, in us, we're more likely to integrate it into our life. We're opening ourselves to that light. If we don't, we have to kind of muscle through making it a part of our life. But if we write it down, if we invite the light in, then it starts doing the changes in us for us. Does that make sense? You with me? So that's number two. Write it down. Get to journaling. I can hear you all. I don't like to write. Suck it up, Buttercup. Write it down. Number three, this is the pulling the sword out of the stone. You will receive clear guidance to do things occasionally in meditation. Whether it's, I need to spend more time in meditation. Whether it's, I need to be kinder to my sister. Boy, my sister's on my mind tonight. Whether it's, I need to take better care of my physical body temple. When those expansive, kind, gentle, loving messages come through and we write them down, what do we have to do? We have to do them. It doesn't do us any good to get this beautiful guidance from the indwelling Spirit if we don't then act on it. And then we don't have to worry so much about the doing side of the do because we started in being and we anchored it in more being. And then the doing is inspired action. Then the doing is actually integrated and helps us get to a deeper state of being. So we're going to sit our hindies down in that prayer chair, 13 minutes or an additional 13 minutes. Every day, no excuses. We're going to write down the clarity we find, and we're going to act on our inspired guidance. This is not a small call to action, but this has not been a small experience we've shared. We really went there tonight. And I believe that if you're in this room or if you're watching this video, that you are here by divine appointment, called to this deeper place in yourself that is, Sean was really called to this deeper place in yourself. It's an invitation from your own indwelling source that brought you to this moment. So that is our call to action. And I'd like to anchor it with a spiritual mind treatment. So I invite you to join me in prayer by closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And I just breathe into this moment. So absolutely clear that sweet Spirit is right where I am. That this infinite power that I call divine mind, cosmic consciousness, the one, has made itself known in, through, and as all of life. It is power and presence. It is hope and grace. It is that which moves us forward and that which sits us down when we need it. And that is what I am made of. I am so clear in this moment that I am made in the likeness and image of an infinite God. imbued with its characteristics, with its creativity, with its power, with its goodness, with its wholeness. And just as I know this to be my truth, I know it's the truth of everyone within the sound of my voice, because it's the truth of everyone everywhere. Without God, there is no life. There is nothing that is separate from it. There is nothing that is different from it. There's nothing but it, and there is nowhere that it is not. Infinite. It's not just a tagline, it's the truth, made in the likeness and image of an infinite God. So each one of us is that love and that power, that grace and that wholeness, that depth and that strength. Literally, the strength of God made manifest. And so knowing this truth about each one of us, I speak my word recognizing that the wisdom shared, that the depth that we have led into, that the wholeness that we have called forth makes itself known in our lives this week. The power and the glory and the magnificence of God shows up in and through and as each one of us, as we are a divine yes to whatever it is that will move us forward on our spiritual path. And we each know with perfect clarity what that is. That extra time in meditation, that listening, that digging into the depth of what we find through our journaling, that inspired action. That we are the hands and feet and the mouth of God on earth. That's what we were brought here to be. And I am so thankful beyond thankful for this teaching that has led me to these understandings, for this center that gives us the opportunity to come together and talk about these things so that we can be called to our highest. I'm thankful that the words that I speak with the authority of God Almighty, and that it is already done in the heart and mind of the divine, where these words couldn't even be formed. It's already done. And so we can just release this word into the action of universal law with complete confidence that God is doing God's work and that we're invited to be a part of it, that it is done, that it is complete. We can let it go. And we know this as we say together, and so it is.
Okay. Thank you, Lezli.
Yes.
So this is the time in our service where we as a community get the honor to give back to this service, to this center, participating in the law of circulation, knowing that it's helping us become more generous people, more prosperous people. For everything that we give comes back to us amplified and increased. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you to bring your offerings to your heart and repeat after me. This gift I give is God in action.
This gift I give is God in action.
I give it in love.
I give it in love.
I give it in gratitude.
I give it in gratitude.
For everything good in my life.
For everything good in my life.
And so it is.
And so it is. And so I'm going to speak just a brief word of blessing over the gifts that will be gathered. More prayer. I love prayer. It's my favorite thing. And so we just speak a word of gratitude and of abundance, recognizing that the givers are blessed, that the receivers are blessed, that there is more than enough in this world, for we are in an infinite universe with an infinite spirit. The Seaside Center is overflowing with good, with love, with wholeness, and yes, with financial gifts, just as each of our lives are equally abundant, equally overflowing, equally filled with love and all things good. So I know the center is blessed, that every service person is blessed, that every congregant is blessed, that everyone within the sound of this voice is blessed, and it is good, and so it is.
The more I give, the more I have to give, the more I am a vessel to receive. more I offer up to the source that's given me everything, the more that I can have what I believe. Want to sing that with me? Here we go. The more I give, the more I have to give, the more I am a vessel to receive. The more I offer up to the source that's given me everything, the more that I can have what I believe. As I give, I shall receive. So I give what I have. I give in thanks for all I have and all that I'll receive according to the divine plan. Because the more I give, yeah, the more I have to give. Whoa, the more I am a vessel to receive, the more I offer up to the source that's given me everything, the more that I can have what I believe. Oh, the more I offer up to the source that's given me everything, the more that I can have what I believe.
Yay!
Even sitting, he's amazing. You don't have to get up. All right, so this is the part. This is the part of our service where we bring back what we learned last week. So last week we had ministerial student Joy Lovejoy, right? And she was here and she talked about trick or treat, know your worth. So we talked about the law of compensation and how that works when you expect the universe to come back and give you a trick, or if you expect the universe to come back and give you a treat. And this is the time where we can talk about last week, how you use that. The call to action was in a very thought out and conscious form that she gave us. So she gave us homework. She literally gave us homework. But if you didn't fill it out, that's okay. How else do you want to express and share how spirit, God, energy, love showed up for you this week? And I'll be coming down once again because this is how I get my exercise.
And any prayer demonstrations, anything awesome that's happened, or anything that you'd love support on, too.
Yes. Or I could just keep talking. Okay. She was
Boy,
like, no,
that worked. That
please don't.
totally worked, Kat.
Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Don't even go there by asking me how old I am. Pretty dismal. But I spent a wonderful day with my grandchildren and my daughter-in-law, and they brought joy and playfulness and excitement and discovery and helped me feel young again and happy again. So it was and the point in terms of coming here is that I was open to receive that, not in a negative place, but just open to receive that. And I felt the more that I was open, the more that they responded back. So we all benefited.
Oh, yay. I love that.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Does anybody else want to share? Oh,
There's a hand in the back, yeah.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I wasn't here last week, but yesterday morning, I actually woke up at 4:45, and I couldn't sleep. But I felt totally rested. So I got up, and I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to meditate now, I don't know when I'm going to meditate. So I actually sat down and meditated, and it was 5:15 to right about 5:35. And it ended right at 5:35. It was like 20 minutes, and I opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, I'll go back there again. That spiritual 8 minutes that you're talking about. And I couldn't go back there because it was over. It was, the zone was done. I'm totally with you. So I received the message tonight. I just want to say thank you because I want to experience more of that. Mm-hmm. And I've done 4 years of practitioner work here, but I'm in a do mentality right now, trying to build the nest egg and all that stuff. And I really need this. So, because I need to not do and be a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah.
Doobie doobie doo.
Does anybody else want to share? Have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, well, I'll share.
Yes.
So this weekend actually, I went hiking, and I was like, I'm gonna spend 1 hour by myself. That's amazing, right? And I'm only gonna give myself 1 hour. I ended up going, and I got incredibly lost. And I was like, this was fun. I'm gonna, as soon as I got out of my lost trail, this is in Torrey Pines, right? I was like, okay, but I wanna do it again. So I went back into another trail, got lost again, and I was like, all right, I could do this again. By the end of it, I had been hiking for 3 hours. And I had reflected on all of life, on everything that I was doing, on what I'm doing right now, on who I'm serving, and kind of just asking myself these questions, like, what is this? Who does this serve? What is this? Who does this serve? And it was just a very nice time with self. And I understood at that moment that I was connected, right? Like I had given myself that chance to reconnect without having to worry about what am I gonna do next, or who do I have to talk to next, or what bill do I have to pay next. It wasn't a worry, it wasn't a concern. My only thought, idea, and plan was, what is this, and who does it serve?
That's awesome.
So, closing comments. With all of that being said, I am honored each and every single Wednesday that I am up here in front of you guys, because we are here for you, and I am here to serve you. So if you have any questions, we will be in the family room. There are cookies. There's always cookies. Please eat the cookies, okay? We have cookies for you. Hang out with us. Talk to us if you have any questions. I want to thank Melanie, and I want to thank Steven, and I want to thank Tim. I want to thank Dennis and Jeannie. I also want to thank Trudy for holding the light, holding the space this entire evening. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you're watching online or on Facebook, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. I want to thank Sean. Big round of applause for Sean Madden for coming out here. And of course, I want to thank the beautiful, the wonderful Lezli Goodwin for bringing her consciousness, her message.
Thank you, guys.
This wouldn't be possible without you. So again, thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Once again, there will be food in the back, cookies, just cookies. So come to the family room, talk to us. We have practitioners here. If you need prayer, if you need some consultation, they are here for you. So we're going to go ahead and stand up. Sean has MP3s that he's selling, that he has on him, if you want to talk to him afterwards, so that you can take him home in the MP3.
Only in the MP3. His fiance wants him back.
That's right. I'm gonna come down here with you guys. Is that cool? Because we're gonna do some affirmations. You guys like affirmations?
Yes.
I like to sing my affirmations, because affirmations sung, they have energy, right? They have energy and presence. So, just close your eyes for a second. I know the lyrics are up. Oh, they're not up there. That's good. That's good. That means you're not like going to be looking at the screen. So, just close your eyes for a second and imagine. What does your life look like when everything is working out for you? Like all the time. From the moment you wake up till the moment you go to sleep, everything is working out for me. All right, we're going to sing that. It goes like this. Everything is working out for me. And then we do it again. Everything is working out for me. And then we go. Everything is working out. And then everything is working out. Everything is working out for me. Just like that. You got that? Let's do it. Here we go.
Everything is working out for me.
Oh, yes, it is. You know it.
Everything is working out for me. Everything is working out.
Whoa,
Everything is working out. Everything is working out for me.
That's right. All right, cool. Now we're going to do a couple more. Let's see. Love is always blooming in my heart. Ooh, feel that one for a second. Love is always blooming in my heart. Here we go. Love is always blooming in my heart. Oh, every day. Love is always blooming in my heart. Love is always blooming. Love is always blooming. Love is always blooming in my heart. So good, right? So good. All right, here's one of my favorites. It addresses the kind of the scarcity mentality, lack, like I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have the other thing. What if everything I need is within my reach? Check it out. Here we go. We're ready.
Everything I need is within my reach.
Yes, totally. Right.
Everything I need is within my reach.
Yes, everything I need. Everything I need. Everything I need is within my reach. Awesome. Now let's make one up. What do we want to affirm tonight that is fresh, new, present? Anyone? We need 9 syllables, roughly. We can fudge them. Anyone? Affirmation. Everything is fun and easy. Everything is fun and easy. That works. All right, let's do it. Here we go.
Everything is fun and easy.
Beautiful.
Easy. Everything is fun and easy. Everything is fun.
Yes.
Everything is fun. Everything is fun and easy.
So good, Kat. Excellent. All right, let's
It's
do
got a
another one.
built-in dance.
Let's do another one.
Easy.
Let's do another one. Who's got one? Ooh, love is through me.
In me, as me, through me.
Love is through me. Come on, help me work
How
it.
about in me, through me, as me, or in me, as me, through me is love, something like that.
In me, as me, through me is all love.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
In me, as me, through me is all love.
Okay.
All love.
Woo.
In me, as me, through me is all love.
So good.
In me, as me, through me. In me, as me, through me. In me, as me, through me is all love.
That work? Is that good? All right. All right, good. Everything
is working out for me.
Come on, sing it.
Everything is working out for me. Everything is working out. Everything is working out. Everything is working out for me.
Come on, sing it with me now.
Everything is working out for me.
Yeah, one more time.
Everything is working out.
For me. And you and all the people on the internet all over the world. Everything is working out.
Mwah!
Thank you. We will be in the family room, so meet us back there for some cookies.
I wish you had fun, Sean. I wish you would just loosen up and have some fun with us.